name's Michael Burt. I'm a local beekeeper. I've got about 700 or 800 hives. I'm not sure how many I've got at this exact point in time, but I run those for myself around the Gisborne district with some help from a couple of friends. I was raised in a beekeeping family, so as long as I can remember we've had the beehives around, and my father taught me how to do it, and it started off just as a summer holiday job for me and my brothers. I've got 4 brothers, and so must have saved Dad some money on wages, and eventually when Dad retired I took over, which was about 4 years ago. The industry's changed a lot since I've been in it, or at least since I've been watching it. We've had new pests come to New Zealand which really affect the long-term sustainability of beekeeping, which we've had to adapt to the challenges of those. We've also seen the value of our products go up. There's been Manuka honey's grown in popularity, and I think it's going to continue to grow, so there's demand for that. And we've also grown alongside the kiwi fruit industry as that's grown in New Zealand. So there's been a lot of changes. Beekeeping's it's a very different game to what it used to be when my dad started, but probably for the better. We're a little bit more organised, we do a better job now, and I think hive production's probably gone up as well. The bees are essentially just harvesting their resources from flowers, but to fly they need decent weather to do it. They need preferably warm, dry conditions. So if we have a wet spring or a wet summer, it will either affect, or if it's wet in the spring, it will affect the growth of the hives, and they won't be strong enough to harvest a surplus of honey, or to get us enough honey in the summer for us to harvest. And if it's wet during the summer when the flowers are out, they just don't get a chance to get the honey from the flowers, so we don't get anything then. And that's what's happened the last couple of years. In the summer at least, we've had good strong hives going into the main period where we'd get our honey, and it's rained and we've got nothing. There's a global decline in bee populations, but in New Zealand we've actually had a steady increase in the overall number of managed beehives for the last, I think, at least for the last 5 or 6 years, maybe even a bit longer than that. Since the varroa mite got to New Zealand, the wild colonies that used to live in hollow cabbage trees and stuff like that on the farms and in the bush, they've died out, but the number of commercially managed hives has increased. So, but we're only managing to keep what we've got alive with the help of new techniques that we've learnt to help us deal with varroa mites, and there's organic ways of doing it, there's synthetic chemicals that can be used as well, there's different approaches to it, but that's challenging. A lot of the things that we used to use to treat varroa mites are either starting to decline in effectiveness, and so we're trying to stay abreast of that, and there's no looking into the future. I feel like our backs are up against the wall a little bit because we're sort of running out of options if the things that we've got stop working. One of the things that attracts me to it the most is that there's very little impact on any other industry or any other people, or negative impacts. Most of what we do benefits either the farmers with clover pollination, fruit growers and vegetable growers with pollination, and there's very little cost or impact. It's it's been a green job since before green jobs were fashionable. Yeah, the honey market's an interesting, going through some interesting changes at the moment. New Zealand honey first sort of sprung, or Manuka honey at least, got popular following some research at Waikato University a number of years ago by a guy, Peter Molan. And he was the first guy to look, well, that I know of, to look really closely at some of the medicinal properties of our New Zealand honeys. But since he did that, there's been a little bit of more attention gone into some other varieties, and they're discovering some pretty cool things. For us, we've got to try and harvest the honey off our beehives this year. It looks like there's quite a bit there, so it'll be a big job, and it's a job we don't mind doing, but it's pretty hard work in the heat. So yeah, for the next couple of months we'll be flat out stealing honey from the bees, and then after that we'll see if I can't take a couple of weeks off and cool down. Cool.